Thank you. We also watch Hamilton. It's like a nice, National Treasure 1, Hamilton, National Treasure 2. Highly recommend it. Good morning, everyone. I can't take credit for this picture. Tammy Buteau, who doesn't even know me, had it made for me. I really wanted brown female representation in incidents because that's what I do. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Incidents, production outages, whatever you want to call them. Going back to 2016-ish, this was me. I was the only incident commander on call for my company, and I loved it. I felt like a hero, and other people knew me, and they thought that I was a hero, so I was like a celebrity. And I had the lifestyle for it. I was in my 20s, and I had energy, so we had an incident at 2 in the morning. That was fine. I would just sleep in. I wouldn't go to the office the next day. I'd go to spin class, get my brows done. It was perfect. And I was also the only one running the postmortems. So that was great because I was bought into this whole blameless postmortem culture. So our postmortems were super duper effective. And we did some great work and it was great. Until it wasn't. Until I couldn't be the only one on call because I was no longer in my 20s. And I wanted others to do what I was doing. And I realized that being a single point of failure meant that I couldn't go on this Parisian vacation or get hit by a bus, but I like the Parisian vacation better, without our systems being impacted. I was part of the system. And then I realized that me doing all of the postmortems was part of the reason that we hadn't acknowledged me as a single point of failure. I had missed a huge learning from my incidents because I wasn't taking in others' perspectives. And if I wanted to no longer be the person in this picture, I needed to include others in all parts of the incident. So here I am. My name is Vanessa Huerta Granda, and I want you all to learn from my mistakes. I work at Jelly.io, providing solutions to help you through the entire life cycle of your incident. And I want to talk about my life's work, which is learning from incidents, but mostly how to involve others. Learning from incidents allows us to get value out of them. We can use the incident as a catalyst to understand how our organization works versus how we think it works. Focusing not just on the technical, but the whole socio-technical system. That means the people, the teams, the org charts, the trainings, the tools, the processes, the schedules, the components, and how they all interact with each other. This is not the same as your traditional postmortem template. Those templates are the ones that you have a day-long incident, you're stressed out, you have the postmortem, you do the template, and the action item is to just not let AWS break again. Right? That's not a very good action item. Instead of thinking about the contributing factors that can help us understand our organizations better, learning from incidents can help discover the impact of code freezes, of org changes, of documentation, of observability, just really great stuff. A great friend of mine and colleague, Dr. Laura McGuire, wrote, "When the focus is on learning, not just on fixing, incident analysis makes a company better able to respond to future incidents." And so today and yesterday, we've heard a lot about how to be strategic. Learning from incidents allows us to be strategic, allows us to think about our work, allows us to plan for the future, and move away from just being stuck fighting fires. As engineering leaders, it's imperative that we provide the time and space for learning to happen. This is also a chance for us to build the culture of our teams, to model the behaviors that we want to see. And so last year, we put together this free guide on how to learn from incidents. The gist is to go through all the stages and try to understand how we got to where we are, how we got here. We call it the Howie Guide. It's a really funny name. And we outlined 12 steps for helping you best understand helping you best understand how you got to where you're at. From assigning an incident review and incident investigation to someone, looking at what data you have, looking at who to invite to your review meeting, what questions to ask, then your report and how to share it within your organization. And you might say to me, Vanessa, this seems like a lot of work. I don't have time for that. This sounds like it can take weeks, and I have other stuff going on, and we're already understaffed as it is. And that's okay. You're supposed to take the process and make it your own. What the Howie Guide is actually telling us is that we need a new way to think about the post-incident work. We need to move away from the traditional 5 whys, root cause analysis, template filling sessions that are focused on finding out the root cause and moving on. There's a lot of great resources out there. Learning from Incidents borrows from resilience engineering, which has been around for decades. And if you want to learn more about resilience, come hit me up, but we're talking about collaboration here. And what we want to do is we want to break up the how-we process into the basic stages. And I will show you why collaboration and all of those stages lead to learning. The setup, the prep, the group. And explain how we can create a culture where learning is a team sport. So let's start with how we set up post-incident review. Who leads it, who is part of it, and what information they can work with. In my earlier example, for all incidents, I was the judge, the jury, and the executioner. I was also the person who committed the crime, like half the time. Don't tell anyone. But anyways, that's not what we want, right? Having other folks who know how to run incident reviews is only going to help us as an organization. I'm a world-class incident review facilitator. I'm very, very humble. But I also miss things. And everyone who runs a review meeting does it with their own flavor. That's what we want. We want that diversity. And giving new folks a chance to do this work is not only an amazing, amazing learning opportunity for them, but it also helps alleviate analysts as single points of failure. We also want to be able to look at the data that goes into a review. We want to move past just asking the one person, the IC, what was the root cause, and then just jotting that down. We can look at Slack transcripts, Zoom calls, pull requests, Jira tickets. All of that helps us paint a more accurate picture of what happened during the incident, and will show that it's never just one person involved. When setting up your review, we want to figure out who else was involved in the incident and who we want to invite to that review meeting. So we can say, maybe we want to invite people from customer support because they can have a different point of view. A colleague of mine had an incident, had an outage following a Super Bowl ad, which is a huge deal, right? Like, you spend a lot of money on Super Bowl ads. You don't want your site to go down. And so they invited marketing into the review meeting so they can hear from their point of view. They can understand how marketing is involved, and you can help plan your capacity for that. One of the things that I hate the most is meetings that feel like a waste of time. And it's usually because no work was done ahead of time to make sure that we were being productive. And this is why prepping is so, so important. Just look at your incident ahead of time, jot down a timeline, ask questions. That is preparation. And when I say a timeline, I mean a narrative timeline. That's different than your regular, a change broke, we reverted, let's go back to our lives. Rather, we're including what people did, what they looked at to troubleshoot, who they reached out to. I like having a visual representation because it can help me realize that maybe we think an incident is detection, diagnosis, and repair. But really halfway through the diagnosis, we found out another problem. And we're going back to the detection part. Incidents are not linear. None of the work that we do is linear. We also have key moments, right? What happens at that moment where we're halfway through troubleshooting and we realize that so-and-so was on this team 5 years ago and maybe they can help. And that's really, really great data to understand how our organizations work. When it comes to questions, it's safe to say that if you are wondering something, somebody else is. I've been in meetings. I recently came back from maternity leave. I've been in meetings where people say acronyms and I have no idea what they are. Ask them. Feel free to ask what the acronym is. Feel free to ask how we made a technical decision years ago. Feel free to ask how you knew to call so-and-so, how to Slack them even if they weren't on call. Either way, do this prep work to create an agenda for your meeting where you know who you want to call ahead of time. And while this part may seem like a solitary step, it's really preparing you to include other perspectives into your review. And then we include the group. We have your review meeting, which we've all had, so I'm not going to go into too much detail of this. But the really important thing is that if I'm leading a review meeting, it should not be the Vanessa show. I'll follow the timeline that I created earlier, and as I'm going to the timeline, if I realize Jeff from customer support let us know of this issue, I will call on Jeff and I will say, Jeff, please tell me what you experienced from your point of view. That's how I'm including others. When you're done with your meeting and you're finalizing your report, it should be written to be read and interacted with, rather than to be filed. This can help others make technical decisions, can help others when handling incidents, even when training new folks. This is how learning continues living even long after your review meeting. That's how we continue paying dividends from our investments. When it comes to post-incident work, at the end of the day, most of us want to learn quality takeaways that can help us grow as an organization and not harm the process. We hope to avoid causing harm. We often have these post-incident activities that cause more harm than good. We have postmortems that are finger-pointing, unprepared sessions with 10 engineers who leave the meeting feeling like we wasted their time and now think that the entire idea is worthless and will no longer participate in the process. I would argue that doing bad incident analysis is actually worse than doing none, because people being bought into the process trusting is key for it working. When others are engaged in the process, we include different points of views, we learn more, we create goodwill, and we avoid burnout. Thank you all. I'm Vanessa. You can find me on Twitter at V_Q_G. I'll be at office hours, and here are some resources.